Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. It's a rainy Thursday here in South Florida, but I'm grateful because it's kind of cooling things down.
Yeah, it's not 90 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was 74 this morning, so it's like nice.
Normal, man. I read something in Arizona. There are the hospitals are filled with people who are experiencing burns from falling on the ground.
Oh, wow. I mean,
Can
yeah,
you imagine? Can you imagine? You like
the no,
just
the act
fall, regular fall, and you have third-degree burns on your skin.
yeah, no, I mean, so I saw Jake sent me a post yesterday that the ocean is like legitimately 101 degrees yesterday,
Yeah, we
just off the
actually
coast of
brought
Florida.
a
So
pot
like,
roast and just dumped it in the water and just
it would
boiled
slow
it up.
cook it.
No, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but the people who sat on the tarmac in Vegas, their flight got delayed on the tarmac. It was 115 degrees, and they had to start taking people off the plane because of heat exhaustion.
It's
Yeah.
So
unbelievable.
look,
Well,
and
it's
if
in
Hot.
it's a tin can.
I don't know what religion anybody believes in, but if there's any God that you believe in or any higher power, hurricanes love warm water. So say a
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
prayer. So
yeah, it's
just
gonna
say
be
a prayer, say some
a heck
positive
of a
thoughts.
hurricane season.
Listen, the thing's out in the Atlantic just spinning.
We got to get through August, September, October.
November.
So we got to
It runs
we
through
got to get through
November.
another
We don't.
90
No, we
days,
don't.
right?
Because I'm leaving. I'm out.
Right.
Next week I'll be in very cool weather up in the mountains of Aspen.
Uh,
So, a couple of shout outs. So I took the show on the road yesterday. Actually, did coffee, and wouldn't you know, who did I see at the coffee shop? Well, the first coffee shop I had, John Ray, which was a wonderful conversation. And here's the power of this connectivity. We've been on the board for years together. We would always wave, whatever. He sat next to me at the last board meeting. He was under his breath making some comments that had me rolling. I emailed him afterwards. I said, dude, that was really a fun board meeting. Let's grab coffee. We sat down, started to find out commonalities. He used to be with Sensormatic. So I said, well, at one point, the president of our company, Adam Custon, was, oh my God, we went down a whole trail of people that we knew from Sensormatic. So you just never know, man. It's just incredible. So, and then the afternoon, the first thing that Jordan Goldman said to me sitting down, he goes, you are persistent. September 20 of 2022 was when I first reached out to him. And again, you never know. Guy from Queens, Jet fan, spent 90 minutes just shooting the shit and feeling good. And so virtual or real, coffee.
I do have to give a shout out to your Jets though. Aaron Rodgers showing some selfless. He's selfless. Finally, is not taking the selfish route. Took a $35 million pay cut in order to help the Jets build around him. As a Dolphin fan, that doesn't make me very happy. But it's cool to see him, kind of adopt the New York culture and try to make it better for everybody. And I'm sure it'll be a fun ride for you. Or in true Jet fashion, be the most miserable 4
They'll
months.
figure out a way to screw it up.
Right, exactly.
So imagine this. Imagine this. Like $35 million to him is like $35 to you and me.
I was going to say, listen, he's still getting 75 guaranteed. So it's not a pity. It's not a pity party.
A hero and go win this one because he's got money that's making money. So it's crazy. So great day for that. Mark, you did the get on the ball call, the accountability call solo. Tell me about it.
Oh, I had a great day yesterday. I saw you at the coffee shop first. I got a great opportunity to sit with Chris White and talk about the art of presentation, which was a blast. Then had a great virtual coffee while I was sitting at Kithinko, which was awesome. Super excited about some stuff that we have in the pipeline with HP. And then got to meet with Jake and Sarah and do our internal meeting, and then got to do the external meeting after that with the GOTB accountability call. And what was super cool was that in the beginning of the call, it was the community coaching the community. So Jen Hicks put out a question to the group about starting her own business. And it was super cool to see Sherry Cedar pop in and coach her, to see Joy Linsky pop in and coach her, to
Benji.
see what's that?
Benji.
Yeah, Benji hopped in and
Benji
coached
was on the
her.
call. You're
Benji
kidding
was
me.
on the
Oh
call.
my God, that's unbelievable.
I-
That's
and-
unbelievable.
The coolest thing for me was the guy over there started coaching. Shay started using some of the teachings that you use, that Dad uses in his calls to kind of relate it. So it was like Dad's ghostwriter was there, you know.
Yeah,
But it was
basically.
cool. It was cool that he's
I was filling
listening.
in for the boss.
Right. It was very cool to see him speak up and give some examples and stuff like that too.
So it was really great. I mean, you know, it promoted the power of the community. It's not just people listening to us talk for an hour every month. It's not just people consuming our content. It's truly a community of people that are trying to get 1% better and helping each other do that, which was very, very cool to see. So a lot of stuff got talked about, a lot of really great content. And just awesome to see the group continue to grow and challenge each other to be better. So it was an hour well spent.
I love it.
We didn't get to see you yesterday morning. How was your morning?
Yeah, how did it go yesterday? You were holding it down.
It was good.
Right.
It was good.
Good.
So a few years ago,
There's Shay.
pre-pandemic, I was on a committee, the Palm Beach County Wealth and Estate Planning Seminar, which is an event we did marketing and help run the event, like similar to how we do all the events, Eat, Drink, Think, all the other events we put on. It was good getting the band back together.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, trying to get some blood in there, some younger blood on the committee and stuff like that. So got some work to do, but that'll be May. So you guys who are in that days drunken magic come down.
Shay is not responsible for the energy.
I love it.
Anyway, lots of great stuff to talk about today. I love the fact that we get here every morning and review. Anybody that is listening to this, please share with us something good. We'll share it in the huddle. You know, we're happy to do that. But the community is growing. And to prove that, Jake has something that he's going to be doing every Thursday. So
we're not going to kick it off today. I want to give everybody a week-long opportunity of knowing what we're doing, because I think the people who are already here show up every day and already get the shout outs. But we are going to start recognizing the people who are joining the community, joining our newsletter, which we are calling our community. But every Thursday, we will do a new shout out. We will announce 5 new names that have joined us. Maybe we will do a raffle at the end of every month too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, kind of keep creating ways to make this a community, keep giving recognition to people so that they can connect, have their own virtual coffees, and then ultimately join the GOTB crew and get better with us 1% or 1% better every day. So next Thursday will be the first day. We'll start shouting out people. So join us every Thursday for some shout outs, some new names, and make sure to connect with them and say hello.
Such as Tracy Roloff joining the party.
I love it.
So let's go to Wake Up Music. We have some great stuff. Simon Sinek is first up. But before that, we have a really funny feature about hair. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking. Time to thinking ahead. Come on. So I know that hair is very important to you guys. You guys get haircuts like every other day, and you know you look.
I would if I could.
You seriously do, and I appreciate the fact that you take this detail. But they're starting them young, and this is a true fact that there are 1,000 kids competing in the 2023 mullet championships. Shay, show me mullet championships.
Unbelievable haircuts. I mean, those are as impressive of a mullet as I've seen, but it's made a comeback. I mean, the
So
mullet was cool when I
not
was a
only is it,
kid.
so there's a guy, Kevin Bagola in Michigan, that started this contest. This is like the third year. They raise a shit ton of money for Home for Wounded Warriors. And as you said, Mark, that's serious stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. First of all, the Wounded Warriors program, I know that, Hayden has done a ton of work with them as well, and they're a great organization. But the mullet is in. Like we went down to Key
What do
Biscayne.
you mean it's in? What is
It's
I'm
back.
telling you, it's
That
in,
and the
bro. Like,
mustache
what do you
are
mean?
back.
What do you
Like
mean?
people
It's
are
in.
rocking
People
the
are
mullet. It's an
choosing to wear it.
acceptable
They
thing
like
for
it.
us.
Like it's like a
Yeah.
thing. And like you're like you made me have a mullet. When I
I
was like 5 years old, I looked like Don Johnson.
Jay, put
I
those pictures back up. Jay, put the top right almost looked like
Right.
you.
It was basically me
It's
when I was
bad.
6 years old. So
Bad.
like you're like, what do you mean
Bad.
it's in? Like you forced me to have this hairstyle. So I'm glad to see it's come back.
I'm just letting everybody know that you never know what kind of news you're going to get on this show. So
Bosworth, baby. It makes me think about Brian Bosworth.
The key is to get the perm to go with it.
Right. You get the curl. Like, wow. Unbelievable.
Can't even believe we're having this conversation. And for me, it's just a razor and some soap, and I'm fine. Okay. So
Be lucky to get some sideburns.
I promised you Simon Sinek in today's conversation, which is very linear to people who wear mullets. The conversation is about be the idiot.
I'm an idiot. I don't understand very complicated things, so I ask a lot of questions just so that I understand it. A long time ago, I had a client. They invited me to sit in on a meeting from the consultant that they had hired. All the C-level executives sitting there nodding, and I didn't understand a frickin' word of it. And so I'd raise my hand and say, I know I'm the only person in this room without an MBA, but this doesn't make sense. Can you just say it again, please? I'm really sorry to slow the meeting down, everybody. And one by one, all the C-level executives said, yeah, I don't understand it either. Now, if the idiot hadn't spoken up and said, I don't understand, they all would have nodded their heads for fear of looking stupid, and they would never have used it and would have sat on a shelf. And it's because I'm okay being the idiot. But the reality is, once I can get to the point where I understand it, I can say it in simple terms, that means other people understand it too. There's a lot of value being the idiot.
So I want each of you individually to comment on what's your feeling when you're sitting in a meeting and you don't know what's going on. I think, Jake, I'm going to ask you to start because, not because you're an idiot, but because you're new to a lot of this. You're closer to that where you just got started and people were talking about shit you didn't understand.
Well, I think it goes back to the conversation of being self-aware too. Like, where do you put what's important to you? Is it important to look the smartest? Is it important to do your job the best way? Like, where are your priorities? Is your priority for yourself, for the outcome of the company? Like, if you're here to help the company and you don't understand something in a meeting, how the hell are you supposed to do your job effectively? If a player never speaks up in a meeting, I assume that he knows it. When we go on the field and he does it wrong, I'm looking at him going, why didn't you take the initiative to help me so I could help you? It's the classic GIF. Help me, help you. And so I think it's that. What are your goals? What are your priorities? What are you trying to really focus on for the best outcome of the company? And make sure that everything you're doing is in order to get that.
Love that. Mr. Mark?
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I think it goes back also to just like not being afraid to ask the question, right? Like you don't know who else doesn't know. And most times you're not asking because you're worried about what everybody else is thinking in the room. And there's probably somebody else going, yeah, I got nothing here. I don't know. So like not being afraid to be the person to ask that. But the converse of that is simplify what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you are an expert in your field, it's highly unlikely that nobody else is an expert with you, or there's very few other experts in the room that are there with you. So how do you simplify the concept? How do you bring it down to, if you could explain it to your 6-year-old so they would understand it, then everybody else will be able to understand it too. And I think that's an art in presentation. That's an art in communication, is being able to simplify what you're saying and convey it in a way that relates it to the audience. How do you get context from them to help them understand it?
So for me, it started out with a very simple concept that I was fortunate to hear and learn from Zig Ziglar, of all people. And he just said, if someone says a word that you don't understand, stop them and say, I don't understand that word. And your vocabulary will explode by learning new words. And people do it all the time. They'll say a word. And this is so apropos because the next segment we're going to get into words that people use the wrong way, So
I think it is on the leader though to ensure that there is buy-in and understanding though of giving a recap because like sometimes we go down these long meetings talking about a bunch of different stuff. Make it a habit to recap what you're talking about and look everybody in the eye a little bit and be like, hey, are we good? Are we good? I think like that creates a personal relationship in a room of a group that pulls everybody closer together on an individual level, which really helps me, I think, always.
And I also think that like as you're having the conversation with somebody and you don't understand something, it's really easy to come off like an asshole when you're like, well, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't get it. Well, now you put the person who's explaining the information on defense, you're on defense, and now you really got no opportunity to really help each other understand. So being genuinely curious and saying, hey, that's really interesting. Can you help explain that a little bit more to me? Or can you give me a little bit more context around it? Or understanding how to ask more information is a part of the art form, that being the idiot in the room. Because if you go, well, I'm an idiot, so I don't get it. Now the person thinks you're a dick. So
right.
like,
well, so that's a really good comeback to this conversation. I didn't expect to go there, but one of the words I started to use that I love is, can you unpack that for me?
Right.
It's like you got it all bundled up. Just unpack it for me. Go down, give me another layer underneath that. Tell me where that came from. And as I've told or shared that with other people when they've used it, that's a comfortable way to say, just give me more depth. Give me more than just here's what it is.
I thought we talked about it in the GOTB call yesterday because we were talking about books and we were talking about traction, and then I forget the other name, but Joy was talking about, well, if you don't learn in kind of the textbook way and are more an application storytelling kind of person, I think that's another great way of asking. Be like, hey, can you give me a real world example of this or an application of like, show me this in action a little bit because I just see it that way a little bit better. So if you could help me kind of apply it, I'll understand completely of what we're trying to do. I
think people think it takes longer to do this than it actually does. Like
It's
there's a great case example or a great case study of this was our meeting with Dave Schaefer this week, right? Like we walked into a business that we knew nothing about. I mean, as little as you could possibly know. And we went in depth on the structure of the company, the revenue streams, the operations, the people, and figuring out where it was that we were going to be able to help and fit and how we were going to be able to fit. And we're able to walk away with a very clear scope of work that then we were able to tweak. But that happened in an hour and a half. It's going from knowing nothing to being able to have a very clearly defined scope of work in 90 minutes. You just got to be willing to ask the questions and continue to go deeper.
Well, Jim brings up a great point that, he was just asking the right questions and people get uptight. Like all of a sudden you're the expert. No, I'm not the expert. It's the opposite.
I need to know.
I want to know. And I think one of the greatest advertising campaigns was the Holiday Inn. Was like, you're no, I'm not the doctor, but I stayed in the Holiday Inn last night. It was like, there are people walking around.
You concur.
Right. There are people in our space that are spewing absolute bullshit every day and acting like an expert because they baffle people. They just, they over talk it. And so when you take the time to break stuff down and ask those questions, and I'm curious because Jonathan Aaron said, can we use a different word than idiot? I'm a pretty sensitive guy. I think I'm politically correct. Is that word out of the vocabulary now as well?
No, I mean, I do feel like I would never say, hey, I'm an idiot, so I don't get it. Like, I mean, you could be funny if you know the people, but to me, I like to say I'm really curious. Like I'm a super curious person, and I like to know I have an engineer kind of mind. I like to know the way things work. Can you help me understand this at another level? Can you help me in front of anything is a great way to introduce it. Can you help me
I
do
like that a
this?
lot. I think, and so we talked about this last week. It's not. It's sometimes it's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Right.
This is a combination of both of those. It's like, hey, I legitimately want to know, man. Like,
And and maybe it's not saying I'm the idiot is the right way, but I think it's a way for the person asking to be like, hey, look, I'm not challenging you, and I don't want you to think that I'm challenging you by saying it's not understanding
right.
that I'm taking the blame. Right, and I understand, and not to come off as an asshole, but saying like, hey,
No,
I'm taking the blame for what I don't know, right? And like you're teaching something that I assume, and so maybe idiot's not the right word, but as a leader, I wouldn't take it as a bad thing.
okay, so do me a favor. Go back to when you were sitting in class, and there was always that one person who just asked too many fucking questions. It was like everybody's like,
Shut
like,
up.
what the shut
Shut
up?
up.
So it's like, so you really don't have a happy medium here. It's situational, but I think, Mark, you nailed it. You said, as somebody who's delivering information, make it simple, stupid. Make it so that people, cut it into bite size. What do we do here on this show? We cut it into nuggets. Boom, people can digest nuggets. When you turn the water hose on and spray people, it's impossible to digest it all. So you have that. Then you have, are you a learner? There are some people that just don't care. I mean, so, the segment I wanted to get to, we're obviously not going to get to. It's one of those fun things. I had 10 or 15 words that people use wrong all the time, but I'll use one and then I'll bring this feature back. And this is my case where I was misinformed. Early on in my career, when we started to get into investing in companies, right, we would actually start talking to them. And I would say, we need to do an evaluation. And actually, that's not what it is. It's evaluation. So somebody tapped me on the shoulder one day and goes, it's evaluation.
Well, another one of those words is in particular, right? Most times people are using in particular. You shouldn't be saying it's just particular.
Right, exactly.
You're particular about something. It's
There's a whole
particular
bunch
to
of
that,
words.
right? In particularly, no, particularly.
Like we're all in agreement. Learning the English language has to be like the hardest thing ever
It is
for
the
somebody
hardest
who
language. It is
it's like.
proven.
I mean,
It
look. The only thing I would throw back is like you go to Japan and it's hieroglyphics, and I don't know how to even. I don't even.
But it's simple. Which is why it's easier to learn all the other languages around the world because they keep it simple. We, on the other hand, have a word that spelled 7 different ways, sounds the same way, and has 15 different meanings. So, all our context.
Another quick shout out to Patrick Tinney. Patrick's a friend of mine, a co-author, coming to us, I believe, from Canada. So thank you for joining us. He's written a couple of great books on business. We've shared that. I see Tim Rappold is in the house. So I think Tim is unretired and back to work.
Jim threw another one out there. People do it with famous and infamous all the time. Like, yeah, people will say, well, I'm infamous for doing that. And I'm like, well, are you infamous for doing it or are you famous for doing it? Because if you're infamous for doing it, it's probably a bad thing.
Right.
So it's.
Do people not know that? So they say they're famous for doing yeah.
So you could do, a profit and loss statement is really important to a business. Most people call it a P&L. And I'm like, it's a P&L, not a P&L. Sorry, dude, it's a P&L, profit and loss, not a P&L.
No. It's isn't it P, letter P, letter N, and letter L? Let me see your P&L.
P&L is like, what the Shay, what's going on?
Yeah, Jim just said it. P&L, exactly right. I mean,
what the hell's going on out here?
Said, like, when you,
what's the P&L?
You say this all the time, right? Like, you rather use candid or let me be candid with you or whatever. But when somebody says, let me be honest with you, like, does that mean that you haven't been honest prior with me? Or what you say and how you say it matters. If there's any golden nugget from this show, it's what you say and how you say it.
Words matter. So love spending the time with you, Jake, on the show. You always add value. when we're done here, let's check the PNL.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing. How is the PNL in your Get Jake business?
Patrick Tinney, Abita, right? Ibita, Ibita or Abita.
So here's the thing. Like, I've been in business a long time. I know what EBITDA means, but I forgot what the actual initials stand for.
Yeah, I could tell you the equation for it, but I got nothing on what the letters stand
Yeah,
for.
because it's like
PEMDAS.
so
love
I
it.
work for a living. I don't like that, Jake. What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. What don't you like?
I don't
I
know.
work for
I don't know what I
living like that, Jake. So
Gusto Ray is in the house. Your
What I
father-in-law's here, dude.
wouldn't
Love
be the
it.
first person.
Great show. Fantastic job, guys. Looking forward to being on the golf course tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah,
So
hopefully it stays dry.
we will be doing Huddler in the Hot Seat. This is my very dear friend coming to us from Houston, friend and client, Brendan Neef. Brendan is one of those cool entrepreneurs. He's in the trucking business, but he has a football background. He loves to talk sports. He loves to talk growth and leadership and all that kind of stuff. So
He's a real leader.
he will be laying down his nuggets tomorrow. That has turned out to be a great segment. And then we leave and go to the golf course, on the ball, on the course. Should be great. Thank you. Oh, there's Jamie Tribble.
With the answer, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Missed the N at the end of that.
Which is
bunch of I'm the only one in the room without an MBA, so right.
Man, I used to sit in meetings all the time and go, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
But at the end of the day, it just comes down to revenue.
So we never did anything. What a great conversation! Thank you for joining us. Ask questions, watch what you say, and stay on the ball.
Let's go.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down.